You have to live life. You have to remember specifically why we're here. We're here for a very short time, and hopefully we get to experience good things.
I grew up, my family's always struggled, and still they've got to a point of comfort, I would say, for us, but not, not
Not
the
Elon
most
Musk?
literate for, making their money make money,
Sure.
or, you know, going after more, right? A big psychological play for me is that tomorrow's not guaranteed. And so, whilst I know that saving this money and not going on this trip that'll cost me 1K, or let's say 3K, whatever, is going to benefit me in the long run and not put me back. Also, so this is a specific example, right? My mom has not been back to India since I was born. I went when I was 2, so it's been 28 years, 27 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have never been able to save to go as a family or just her individually, because we've always spent that money sending it to India, sending it to family, or bringing back and forth to grandma. So even now, saving up that money is a struggle because of the lifestyle, everyone's accustomed to. But even if we can do it, which we may now, it may not be the best financial decision for me to go on this trip with my parents to their birthplace, our place of heritage, which is very important for me to share with them and for them. And it's like they're 50 years old, who knows how long they're going to be here? Who knows how long I'm going to be here? How do you weigh that risk as a financial advisor? I mean, I know as a financial advisor, and even you personally, you have that brain. It's like, don't do it if you can't do it, or even if you can do it but can't do it, if you know what I mean. But how do you weigh that as a non-financial advisor?
I need to tell you a fun little story. I started out my own practice, my very own. I had left the bigger firms and I started my own company, and I was living in New York. I was struggling, right? I had a certain amount of money coming in, and it was nowhere near enough to cover what I was paying for rent and for rent for the office and everything that was going on. I knew that I would grow my practice as time went on, because I was your age. I was pretty young still, just starting out. And I got this amazing opportunity. I happened to be invited one night to a Yankee game, and we were in a box. And in this box was, all the big wigs from Continental Airlines at the time, before it was United. And they had put this event together for their biggest clients that spent, tons of money at Continental Airlines. And the person that was there from Continental said, hey, I would love you, me and my friend who, she knew we were both pretty avid sailors. Continental is putting on this event. We'll fly you first class. You can stay over in Bermuda at the Elbow Beach, free for a week. It's going to be, all expenses paid. Would you go? Now, keep in mind, this is a month into me starting my own firm. I'm super stressed out. I don't have the money for it really, because even if it's free, you're going to buy stuff. Totally stressed out. And my assistant, Neil, who much more life experience than me, he said, Frank, can I ask you a question? And I'm going to ask this question to you right now, Sohail. When are you going to get the opportunity to spend that time with your family to go see your homeland and spend that time with them ever again in your life? I would say you can't afford not to go. you're going to survive. You're going to wake up tomorrow. You're going to wake up the day after you actually get back from that trip, and you're going to be stressed out. Yeah. But is it going to be any more stressed out than you are now? Probably
No.
not.
And, you know, my FOMO brain, of course. And if it happens, it happens. I'll go and I'll be fine. Like you said, I know what I need to do. It's daunting, but a lot of people probably need to hear this. You look at your expenses, your habits, you find a budget. If you're lucky enough, like me, to have a little saved that you could go on this trip, then you just budget out how to build that back. And that's the thing. It's like I worked. You see me here. I mean, even though you think I don't work that. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, my goodness. How dare you?
But I feel like I worked hard for those numbers in my account.
Yeah.
And they can go like that on a plane ticket is very like stressful. Even though I know the value of it. And yeah, that's a reassuring coming from you, hearing that, because it will be okay. I'm not in a crazy dire situation, but yeah, I think a lot of people need to hear that. I think I agree. I think there's a level to that kind of thinking. Like, this is a major thing.
Yeah.
But maybe the going out with your friends tomorrow night does not fit within that level of FOMO.
Right.
You know
Look,
what
there
I mean?
there are critical decisions you have to ask yourself when you're spending any kind of money while you're saving up. But the one thing I will say is that I have seen way too many people that saved all their money, and then by the time they're able to retire, they've already been disabled, or they're not going to be able to do the trip that they wanted. Maybe they're, you think your golden years are going to be great because you've, empty nested and you got rid of your kids, but then your kids have kids. Right. And maybe, just maybe, your kids are struggling. And so, grandparents are going to take care of the kids while, because maybe for any number of reasons they can't afford childcare. Maybe childcare isn't an option. Maybe there's, and then throw in an additional factor of, 1 out of 5 of us doesn't make it to normal retirement age because of some kind of disability. So you have to live life. You have to remember specifically why we're here. We're here for a very short time, and hopefully we get to experience good things, right? There's a lot of people out there that unfortunately do not get to experience good things. But, we've gotten to experience some good things, and you need to take into consideration that shouldn't be free. You should work hard for those because it makes it that much sweeter. But when you do get these like once in a lifetime opportunities, you have to take them. You have to. You need to be very smart about what you do when you're there. Realize, you're where you are. Try not to get taken because, when you're in India, that money's going to feel like monopoly money. It doesn't look real to you. It's not what you're used to. And so you may be tempted to just like hand this guy a wad of cash that you have no idea what it is just because you don't know and you don't care, right? So I would say you have to do trips like that, but you know when to be smart too. And if you don't, learn. Like what I would say to you, this is just a fun aside, whether you want to put it up on the thing or not. Use your media, use your personality, your media personality, use your connections. And while you're in India, see where you're going. See if there are any studios while you're there. See if anybody wants to do something. Use this as a write-off, right? So come up with some different ideas that you can actually do business-wise while you're there, because there are going to be some things I suspect that the family is going to want to do that you're going to want to get away from. So consider that. You may actually make some money while you're there.
Yeah.
Right?
It's wild. I was looking at just rent in even Bombay or Mumbai compared to like New York or something. And man, if I could like get a U.S. salary and I don't want to live there, but but that's an aside. But that's a good piece of consideration. I wanted to go back to, you were talking about your golden years, and that reminds me of my parents and how they live their life, and I think it's beautiful because they they live their life, and not even considering about grandkids or any of that. It's just you live your life. Things aren't guaranteed. But then the flip side of that for the kids, it's like, I know they're going to get old and I want to take care of them. And that's a consideration of I guess I think when you start hitting my age, you get these realizations of this is the balance of life. This is, you know, I don't think the concept of golden years really exists. It's life. Like you're being taken care of and then you're taken care of. And I think I might be in them maybe in my 30s because my parents hopefully are fine, but you know.
Yeah, and the as they get older, you know, there will be other planning steps that you're going to need to take into consideration. What they've done for you, you will never do for them. There's just no chance in the world that your life will allow you the flexibility to physically take care of them the way they took care of you when you were completely
Helpless.
Helpless. Yeah. So you have to take a step back and realize that just like they are going to have to deal with a lot of this, you are as well. And you cannot put yourself in a position, you cannot compromise your future well-being for them as much as you want to, unless you get to a point where you are, literally fiscally capable of doing that. So you can't spend all your money in anticipation of giving them a great life at the detriment of your own.
That's an interesting conversation when you play in cultural dynamics and the American individual mentality and the get rid of your kids at 18 and then, you know, they'll maybe, you know, you fend for yourself or put yourself in a home. It's like I have seen, you know, my dad sacrifice so much and like just people of our culture. It's just a different idea of life and life cycles and the sacrifices you do make to take care of your parents. And I think moving here, finding that balance between taking the good from, you know, the American cultural standards of, you know, life and individualism, but also the communal, familial. That's the story of my life right there.
Hey, thanks for watching The Merge. We've got a ton more stuff for you to watch on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, everywhere. Check us out.